All right, welcome everybody. It's 4. Before we do, I'd like to make an acknowledgement. We meet today on settled indigenous land, which are traditional territories of the Chinookan peoples of the Wasco, Wishram, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment of cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. I hereby call this meeting to order at 4 p.m. Tia, will you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Greg, Chair.
Here.
Megan, Vice Chair. Tamara, Secretary. Jim.
Here.
Elazar. Gisela.
Here.
And Matt.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. Everybody should have received in their packets the minutes from January 21st. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review. Does anybody have any changes they'd like to make?
I just have a comment. I think it's let's see, like under the executive director report, item D, office updates. Actually, when I was in Cannon Beach, their SDAO has money set aside if you want stand-up desks, because it's considered workplace to avoid insurance claims later down the road. And I don't know if there's still money in that account, but or if you knew that already or not.
I actually didn't know that. Tia, maybe we can do a retroactive.
And it's
Appreciate that.
I think I wrote down Dave Davenport. Does that sound right? He's in charge of liability.
That's great.
Good suggestion.
Yeah.
I'd go for the swimming desk. I saw that on TV.
No way.
I use you guys
That
have
was
those
a
desks
joke,
here
right? It
now?
was somebody's
Yeah.
good idea. Swimming desk.
I've got two of them at my house. I wouldn't do anything else. I
Yeah.
mean, and they're
I
electric,
use-
go up
I use
electric,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Old drafting table is what I use, but yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Any changes to the minutes? Okay, Tamara's joined us, by the way. You can make a note in minutes. All right, entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I second.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll
That
start I would
Wait,
love
a
to make that
second.
motion.
Thank you, Megan. Any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Does that include the procurement stuff? Was that in there too? Or I didn't get one of the things went away. You had Hood River County Transportation Procurement Policy. Is that?
That's in this meeting.
Yes,
It's in
this
meeting.
That's this meeting?
That's this
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, chair votes aye. Minutes have been approved. On to agenda item 4, public comment. I don't see any public here. Okay, we'll move on to number 5, monthly accounting report. Tia?
Great. Included in the materials were the financial reports for last month. You'll notice there was no AR aging summary because we have no current outstanding AR.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll take that. Does anybody have any questions about the materials? Right. An update on the grant reimbursements for Q2. They have all been submitted with the exception of the 5311. We are still waiting for ODOT and FTA to work out a few things, but we should be able to submit those soon. Amy's patiently following that. So, we also received V81, our new van, and the reimbursement request has been created. We are just waiting for ODOT since it was in Q3. They need to help us push it along since it's early in Q3, but we hope to have that done by the next meeting.
Just a quick question on the bill payment list.
Yes.
Special district?
Yeah, the 68. Yeah,
That's our insurance.
There's 2 of them.
Auto-
isn't there?
There's 3 of them.
3 of them.
I feel like we typically see something around 12. I don't know, I didn't go back and look at the old.
Well, 12 is the medical and dental,
Okay,
and then the 68 is
Liability.
the liability, yeah.
that's monthly.
The 68,000
That's
is
yearly.
yearly,
Okay,
yeah,
that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
yep, and the 12,000 is monthly.
Okay.
And then there was a negative 468, special districts insurance. Is that the,
We received the participation credits.
yes.
All right, and Amy shared a little bit what we did get the new office furniture, new desks and monitors, which has created a great amount of space, and it's been a nice adjustment. Any questions? All right.
You continue on with the resolutions and action items then?
You got it. Procurement policy, there is a memo included in your materials. During the compliance review that we had with ODOT in January, there were a couple of advisory recommendations made for the procurement policy. Let's see, the first one, the advisory recommendations made during the compliance review were the OMB threshold for formal procurements has been raised to 350,000. Oregon law is set at 250,000. Our current threshold is set at 150, but we may wish considering raising it to match the Oregon's 250,000. Any questions on that portion? And our current procurement policy includes instruction for invitation for bid under the architectural and engineering section. It is recommended it be moved from A&E to the general formal procurement section. A&E procurements are qualification-based procurement methods, so IFB process is not applicable. It is recommended that it be added to the general formal procurement section along with the existing section on request for proposal, as well as adding instruction on when to use RFP versus IFB. Any questions on either of those? So the action required is the board is requested to review the draft procurement policy and either approve the document or request specific modifications.
Everybody had a chance to review that in the items? Any comments?
I mean, I made some notes. I mean, you guys, I'm new, so you guys have to tell me if I be quiet or not, but like 1.5, it works contracts, and then it crossed out up to 150. Is there gonna be an amount put in there? Like is 250 to go in there?
So, you said 1.5?
1.5 designation of authority. It's just crossed out. I didn't know if you were gonna put something else in there or if that was depending on. I didn't know.
I think the intent there is to remove that completely. We wouldn't be adding an addition to that.
Because it's defined, the 150, 250 change is defined in other parts of this.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it gets defined later on.
It
Right,
is.
okay, yeah.
Well, and it's also in our financial policy of, what kind of things I can sign, but also it's kind of, the wording is a little weird. But all of this does is it allows me to work on procurement processes that have already been approved through our budget, right?
Okay,
And then before we can go into any contract, I have to bring it to the board and get it approved by you.
right, okay, and the approval is, what we're talking about is going from 150 to 250?
Well, any contract that's above 10,000, I have to get approved by you guys.
Right, because we're, okay. I guess the way I read it was like, oh, she can like go spend $250,000 and not have any oversight,
Yeah.
okay.
No, this is just for the procurement to do the procurement process, which is either going out for bids and quotes or going out to an RFP, and I would only do that if it was in the budget and was approved.
Okay,
But also that secondary backup is that I'd have to get it approved, any contract by you guys.
so we're all in on it.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And then and also the reason why I crossed it out too, it just didn't really make sense because the RFP, even if you took out the fact that, we were, the proposal is to raise that threshold for the RFP, like an RFP, to do that RFP has to be at that 150,000 level or lower if it's a more intricate type of procurement. So I would already be doing that process, and then it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Okay,
And
yeah, when I saw it just crossed out, it was-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And then we confirmed it with Emily that I have the authority to, well, if approved by you guys, execute all the procurement processes, like going out and doing as described in our policy, the different,
but not sign
process.
off.
but I can't sign
Right,
off on
okay.
it, yeah.
Okay,
That makes sense.
And the sealed bid section is new then? The 3.33, the sealed bid method?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I did there is, I just changed the language to be a little bit more in line with what the ODOT consultants were, one of their template policies. So the sealed bid is another term for invitation for bid, which is what they're referring to.
Okay.
So I added that language in there, but then also added the other language, the invitation for bid, because that is the more typical reference. And then the other changes is at 3.3.2, where it was request for proposal, I changed that to competitive proposal method, and then in parentheses, request for proposal, and added some clarification language in there. So that people understand there's two different types of methods you could do, but they have different vehicles or avenues for how you implement them.
Okay.
That people typically refer to instead of the competitive proposal method or the sealed bid.
And then there's no defined like sufficient time. You're fine with that kind of language that bidders are allowed sufficient time before the date of the bid opening. There's no kind of set time frame.
Well, typically we recommend 21 days, and then it's tended to work out pretty well of having that like a minimum of 21 days, and then depending on what the situation is, we can do longer. Like there's some procurement processes that are coming up that I'll talk about a little bit more that are, I'm gonna put it as long as I can make it. That seems reasonable. So probably like maybe 2 months, because it requires a lot more work to be done by the people who are putting.
But you
in
can just set it in
proposals.
that. You can set the time amount in there. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to specify here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then that also kind of gives some flexibility of it, makes it so like, let's say there's a, we need to get moving on a project within, 30 days. And because of whatever reason, we just haven't had a huge amount of time to get it out there. It allows us to at least have a minimum amount. So it gives us some guidelines, but then gives us some wiggle room if it's not a lengthy request, like if it's not a proposal that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Sorry.
Gives you flexibility.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on procurement policy?
I guess my only other comment, and maybe it's an official, let me see if I can get to the page. And this is just looking at it from the public's perspective.
Yeah.
It was The definition of micro
Purchases?
was 150,000 and small was 250. I'm not sure the public would, is there a way to reword that so it like, right? I mean, when they're spending $250,000, $250,000, does not seem like a small purchase. I mean, how many $150,000 contracts are we going through?
I thought like micro was 10,000 and under.
So micro is
In between.
15,000 and then, well, we've updated it to 15, it was 10,000.
Okay, that's what that 1.5, okay, so
Yeah.
there's a line through the zero, okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
way more sense.
Yeah, so that's 15,000, and then the small purchase is between 15,000 and 250.
Okay,
And that is mimicking what Oregon has recently passed. It is less than the FTA threshold, which is 350.
so they just find small purchases between 15,000 and 250,000? Okay,
Okay. Thanks for all the comments there. Do we have a motion to accept the procurement policy as presented?
I so move.
Okay, thank you.
A second.
All right, thank you, Matt. Any further discussion on the procurement policy? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any contrary minded? Okay, chair votes aye. 6A is passed. Now we're on the ADA paratransit policy.
All right. So also during our compliance review with ODOT, there were a couple advisory recommendations for our ADA paratransit policy. The recommendations were under the combined riders policy, it references specs for a common wheelchair and identifies that as 32 by 48 and 600 pounds. The recommendation is making the statement that CAT will accommodate any mobility device that can be accommodated. Any questions about that change recommendation?
Basically, just to give a little more context.
To fit our equipment that we have, just to,
Yeah, in
Okay.
case technology changes, in case ability of what the lifts
The
can do
variety
changes.
of- yeah.
okay,
are all the lists 600 pounds?
There's some of them are, I haven't double checked to see if they're all at least 600 pounds.
Okay.
I'm wondering if any ADA of our ADA writers have made comment or concerns towards this, or if there's been any feedback solicited from them.
Not to my knowledge, but I also haven't necessarily sent it to an ADA group, and this is all primarily coming from a consultant who specializes in FTA, ADA requirements.
Okay. I just happen to know a couple that they're very vocal and but they don't give specifications, so I've asked them to provide me with specifications, and they've never followed through. So
Yeah, and we're open to feedback. This is one of those things that, any feedback we send it to ODOT and RLS, who are the consultants who are the specialists. But yeah, always open for feedback.
no, and I'm very glad to see this, because now I can say, changes were made.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll move on. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and then as well, it was recommended that we currently in our policy have the spec limit for the lifts at 600 pounds. The ADA does not require that the specs be publicly available, but if they are, they can't be understated. This means that if CAT has any vehicle that has lift specs over 600 pounds, then we wouldn't be correctly advertising that. So the recommendation was that we remove the weight capacity and simply state that CAT will accommodate all mobility devices that the lifts can accommodate.
for example, they're like 750 to 1,000 depending on the Brown model.
Any questions on?
Sorry, this is weird to me because not that mobility devices and bikes are the same, but I kind of want to know before I bring a certain bike, what is the minimum that the rack or whatever will support? And is 600 pounds the device plus the weight of the person, or just
Yes.
it's the
device
lift,
plus
right? Yeah.
And
So the overstatement, not the overstatement, but the I agree, like, we shouldn't say that some of our lifts can accommodate 750 to 1,000 pounds, because some of them can only accommodate 600. But it's nice to, I don't know, have a ballpark somewhere out there as a communication to riders to be like, you can expect to have all of our lifts accommodate 600, but some accommodate more. Otherwise, would have no idea. Like a wheelchair could be just like a non-electric device that weighs less than 100.
so I think the intent of this is more, it doesn't necessarily limit what, we don't want to just understate what one of our lifts can do. That it's not necessarily stating what we define as mobility device. Is that what you were concerned about?
No, just if I was a rider that had a mobility device, I wouldn't have any range of knowing how many pounds they can accommodate. Like, are we talking non-electric under 100 pounds? Or are we talking, like, I would be completely in the dark whether it was non-electric or something like more than, yeah, like 1,000 pounds. That's a huge range of mobility devices in terms of weight total. So I don't know what the right policy would be, but I guess if you're already riding CAT, you know what we can accommodate, but if you're like somebody that's visiting here from out of town, you would have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the other alternative is we can put in the more specific weight limits. I mean, that is something we can do. We just need to be really careful about if we get new vehicles
update
it.
I don't know that you want to be that specific on
I
it.
think you do.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of weight. I mean, I can't imagine anything being 1,000 pounds. And
you're
that's a
saying
car.
all of them a minimum of 6?
Yeah.
I mean,
There,
Is this
I
just
have
something
to
that we
double
can-
check all the.
why do we have a minimum? Shouldn't we just be posting the maximum? I don't understand the minimum.
Because it changes, right?
Changes.
And this is just a policy that addresses
like,
all of our.
like,
can't
like,
understand.
like the oldest
Yeah, you don't
share
understand, yeah.
Braun that we have is
Yes.
got it. I'm
Mhm.
understanding now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even 600.
And you can't do a range?
I mean, Hobie, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think
Kind
hi everyone. This is Hobie with ODOT. And I'm just remembering what we've talked about it with other agencies, and just having a weight limit is you just don't want to understate it. You could list all of them, or you could just add a sentence that says, if you would like to know the specifications of the vehicle or the route that you're going to be using, please contact Hood River. And then if somebody does want to know, typically mobility users can find that out by just calling and saying, this is the route I'm going to use. I have this big wheelchair. Am I going to be fine? So you could add that and not have to update it then. And it would still meet the intent of what the compliance review advisory recommendation was.
Makes sense.
And I would say historically, that is what riders who have mobility devices that are maybe not the typical mobility device, they will call us and they will ask and confirm. But it is historically what people tend to do. Megan, would that ease some of your concerns?
Yeah, just so they know that there's like some type of channel of communication. I have questions like this all the time about bike racks on buses. Like, even our bike racks on our buses are like, there's a wide range of weight limits. So, because I ride it all the time, I know, but like a newbie just having the ability to contact and have that dialogue is really valuable.
I think that makes sense. I think we can add that.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on the ADA paratransit policy? Does somebody want to make a motion with that amendment to add in that language?
I'll make the motion to approve the new ADA paratransit policy with the addition of how should I say right.
Contact Hood River Transit for more information on.
Yes, or weight restrictions.
Additional capabilities.
There are any questions about fit or size? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for stating that so well, Megan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Tamara. Any further discussion on it?
Be interesting to see how many calls you get. We'll know. You'll know from there, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, we do get it's actually really interesting. We've gotten quite a few, especially in the last year. We've gotten quite a few calls of people checking in with their mobility devices and bikes too. Because we do have riders who use bikes as mobility devices. It helps keep them self-sufficient. And so it's, I think they call us.
An answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have a first, a second. No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, chair votes aye, so 6B passes. All right, on to operations manager report. Jeff?
Cool. All right, we're holding steady with the safety score of 99 according to Samsara. Speeding is still staying pretty low, no crashes, no harsh events. OTP for fixed went up to 95.5%. I think that's mainly due to, I think in the last meeting was saying that we weren't getting our GTFS data for Gorge to Mountain, and now we are. So we're actually seeing that that bus is on time. DAR OTP is still looking pretty good. Miles driven, vehicle hours 1,140, vehicle miles driven 37,505. Increase of miles there is due to Gorge to Mountain service. 11,395 for the fuel costs, and cost of fuel went down again. Formal customer complaints 2, vehicle incidents 1, customer incidents 6. There's not a ton, so I am going to read them today. Formal complaints, customer from Mosier called and inquired about a CAT service to Mosier and expressed dissatisfaction with bike rack sizing and bus route connection frequency. It was later determined that they intended to contact our partner agency, so they weren't actually talking about our buses or bus stops. A customer called to complain that CGE bus left early from Gateway. We checked our Samsara tracker and it showed that our bus was on time and there was no follow-up requested. Vehicle incidents, just a fender bender with a plastic barrel in, probably not even a fender scuff in the bus barn. Customer incidents, 4 instances of vaping on the Columbia Gorge Express. Buses have been reported despite drivers and supervisors announcing the no smoking rule. Suspect has been notified by supervisors that they may be trespassed if they're caught vaping on the bus. Increasing vaping is being monitored and recorded by staff. Just follow up to that, since January, we've actually seen a pretty significant decrease in driver reports on people vaping on the bus. Our supervisors were actually going out and announcing it every time the bus left CAT, and we were able to identify one person that was vaping and have a conversation with them. The report came in from the police that a driver called from the city bus stating a felon was on board. Upon investigation, the call was not made by our driver, and it just became, the police to resolve. No vandalism, no harsh events. Employee of the month got Tim Ravens.
Woohoo!
Yeah. In addition to being the project coordinator, Tim has really stepped up to help with the transition to the new supervisor schedule. He is always willing to answer phones or assist with customer service at the window. He's also become our go-to designer, handling everything from office layouts to bus stop signage. Tim is always up for a brainstorm and does a great job managing his tasks.
Can we have him make a speech, maybe?
Thanks, Jeff.
I'm blushing.
I'll add that Tim also deals with frantic board members who have expired orange passes, like myself. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep, we appreciate you. Okay, going to, does anybody have any questions on that part of the ops report? Okay, moving on to ridership. I think the biggest thing that's the glaring thing is the negative 30% compared to last year. That's, there's, over 2,000 less riders on Gorge to Mountain for the, because we're only running weekends and not running full Gorge to Mountain service. Dial ride, once again, is up. Upper Valley went up a little bit too, which is nice to see. It's been down for the last 2 months. Columbia Gorge Express a little bit down, but relatively steady. And Hood River City went up, just not a ton, but also kind of holding steady for the winter. Yeah, anything? What?
Down a bit.
Well, year over year, but from last month. Is that
Oh,
what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
sorry, jumping back and forth there. Yeah, most of what I was referencing is to last month.
Gorge to Mountain's gonna recover, right?
It's
Next month.
snowing right now.
It's gonna
Lighting's
be-
good.
The last
Yeah.
2 weeks and the first 2 weeks.
Have we gotten any public feedback on that? I mean, not that there's tracks that they're missing, but in terms of not running during the week.
We started service on February 7th, so we are running now.
Okay.
And I've
Yeah.
heard great things from parents, and just like outside of work stuff up there, just in general around town, they're just like, you don't realize how cool it is for our kids to be able to go up there and ride and
Perfect.
drop them off. And one of them was just so at run night, Tuesday night, at the format, there's beer running for 4 miles, get a free beer to anybody here. Public service for them. But people there were like, yeah, we threw our kids on there for the first time, and it was like their adventure. They were kind of scared, but they were so excited for them just to be able to go ride up there, and they knew they were safe and riding something. Just like super thankful.
Yeah.
And they were saying that out of the blue. They didn't know I had anything to do with CAT. They knew I was up at the mountain, but
Yeah, it's great to hear. It's tough,
Yeah.
tough service for all
so
around.
I see a lot of young kids riding it and high schoolers the whole bit. So
Yeah, a lot of
great for them to be able to access it.
especially with the extra nights because
That's
we're
what
doing
public
Sundays
transit's
now.
for, right? Take kids there, and parents aren't having
Right.
running around everywhere and extra vehicles on the road and
Parents
doing
wanna
that
be,
whole bit. Yeah.
kids wanna be away from the parents coming up there anyhow. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Did you want to look at vehicle inventory now, or did you want to do that?
Maybe you and I should just look at it at the end, unless anybody else, we had talked about it last month. I went out and toured some of our vehicles before the meeting. If anybody wants to see what our current inventory of 18 vehicles are,
Yeah, we
we
can.
can show it up on the screen. Yeah, why don't you show it up on the screen? We got time. That's in, what page is that?
It's the, I mean, I pulled it off of the share drive, but I think it's the last.
It
the
wasn't
last
in,
page.
the- oh, there it is, okay.
Yeah, last page is meeting materials,
Perfect.
65.
Kind of love that we have a Chevy Tahoe. Sorry, I don't know why.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that thing was no good or something.
No,
Well-
the Tahoe had, it was not marked well as a cat vehicle, and people were mistaking it as an ICE vehicle. So
Okay.
we have heavily branded the vehicle with cat logos.
Okay.
No,
That is a vehicle we got, that used to be a TriMet security vehicle, and we got it for very low cost. Not free, yeah.
Can everyone see that?
so I guess the first thing that I'll just talk about on that is the V81 at the very bottom. That is our newest vehicle, which is a gas Ford Transit, which is actually, it's pretty cool. The drivers are excited about it. I'm excited about it. It's got it actually has a side 80A ramp and a passenger door, an automatic passenger door. It's basically configured just like one of our cutaways, but in a smaller style vehicle. So it's really great for dial a ride. The driver doesn't have to get in and out if somebody doesn't need to use the ADA ramp. They can just open the door. We can, if we ever need to, we can put it on other services like the city route or Upper Valley, more likely Upper Valley because of ridership. It holds about 8 people max. Depends if has one folding chair that allows for a second ADA position that'll reduce it to seven people. I think the other interesting call out is 124, the electric van that only has 29,000 miles on it. It's been quite the journey. That was similar idea originally as this gas van that we have, except it was one of the early on electric vehicles that I think you guys might already kind of know the story. But it hasn't been operational for a long time. The transmission's bad on it, and we can't get anybody to work on it because it's a why am I not thinking of the word?
Frankenstein.
That's the word that was in my head, but I wasn't going to use it.
What's the word?
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein vehicle.
Okay.
It's a modified vehicle from before they were making electric vans, and the company that modified it is out of business. And so for liability reasons, a lot of mechanics are rejecting the work on it. With that said, we did just get cleared to dispose of the vehicle a little bit early. And so we should be getting that title from ODOT pretty soon. And that'll go to auction. Yeah, any questions on this or anything else you want to?
Well, the only one that maybe address everybody on 472.
Yeah, 472. Actually, and I can talk about the Northwest bus cell warranty issues as well. 472 has been, so I guess my understanding of it is the doors that's required by Oregon, the doors have to have this sensor that prevents you from, so like our older buses, you could essentially drive down the road and open the passenger door, and there's no safety feature. These have a safety feature, but the safety feature isn't working correctly. So it's when it thinks the door's open, so it won't allow us to put the vehicle into gear. So that's been out of service since I believe December 2nd, and it's been going to a company in I think it's called Northwestern. I gotta look at the name again, but this a mechanic shop there, because our mechanics didn't I think they didn't feel like they were comfortable working on it. And then they couldn't fix it. They told us we could get a part, and the part was really simple. It was supposed to be plug and play. We waited almost I don't know, six weeks or something for this part, and then Troy reached out to them to follow up, and then they said they hadn't even put the order in for the part. The company just forgot to. And then we got the part because they ended up rushing one over to us. It got installed last weekend, had the bus. We didn't put it in service. We did some test driving in it, and they actually did not fix the problem. So it's still out of service. So our mechanics are actually going to take 472 to their shop and try to diagnose the problem and get it resolved. So that's kind of been a bummer of a journey for a relatively new bus with 91,000 miles on it. Not to just keep doing bummer news, but all of our new vehicles, C141, C161, and V81, those are all from Northwest Bus Sales. They're all operational, but they've had a bunch of smaller problems that are still under warranty, which is great. So we are working with Northwest Bus Sales. They came out yesterday, fixed what they could, and there's a couple of things that they're going to have to take. They're going to actually pick up the bus and bring it to Portland one at a time and take them to Portland and repair some of these issues. Like 141 has a leak in the seal on the fender well, so water's coming in through the floor, and then C161 has like this clunking noise that is, it's more obnoxious than it is a mechanical issue, but the bus shouldn't be making that noise every time it goes over a bump, so they gotta fix that. And then the new van also had an electrical issue with the chair that they were able to repair pretty quickly, so that's back. That wasn't out of service for more than basically half a day. So glad we're getting them now. Not psyched that we're having so many problems with new vehicles. Yeah, okay. That's kind of the negative side of the health of our vehicles. Other than that, our other vehicles are running 469, 470, or those are our mountain buses. So we see a lot of problems with those. They are older, almost 500,000 miles on them, but our mechanics are usually able to turn them back around pretty quick and get them back on the road.
That's perfect. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Covered new bus, Gorge to Mountain. I think we're just, the only change coming up with Gorge to Mountain is nights are gonna end. That's
What?
Yeah, I know. On the 8th, and then we are also trying to decide if because we didn't run full service for the year, we have the ability to and the staffing now, which is great. We're fully staffed, that we might actually extend our weekday service, not nights, obviously, because Meadows isn't running nights, but weekday service to the end of Meadows' weekday service.
So to be specific, we're looking at a couple of dates, but either April 12th or April 17th, which would allow us to more or less run right into our Dog Mountain service.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not quite to the end, but
generally we finish on like the 31st.
You keep those
Yeah.
drivers busy kind of to the.
well, that, and I mean, my thought is that we were a little late to deliver full service, and if we have the ability to provide that service to our community, and also make sure our drivers have those shifts as well, as another benefit.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Any questions for Jeff?
I'm sorry, just to clarify, we're still looking at a couple things, and then once that's defined, and once there's no concerns from board members, we'll go ahead and start.
Publishing that
Yeah.
schedule. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Okay. Thank you, Jeff. All right, Amy, the floor is yours for director report.
All right, well, thank you. So the first thing on my executive director report is just a legislative update. The intent is to update the board on the most recent information regarding House Bill 3991 and a short session update. There's no action required of the board at this time. With regards to House Bill 3991, on January 7th, Governor Tina Kotek called for lawmakers to repeal that bill in the upcoming, or then now, the short session. It turns out this bill cannot be repealed and is expected to likely to go to voters in May. Oregon Transit Association, or OTA, is focusing on House Bill 4008, which would form a transit funding task force compiled of legislators, providers, businesses, labor, and riders. The intent, bringing people from both sides of the aisle to have a potential funding solution that can be brought to legislators at the 2027 legislative session, if, House Bill 3901 is not passed by voters. I did give testimony to legislators last week in support of that bill. So just so everybody is aware. On a related note, legislators are currently discussing how to fill a $242 million ODOT budget gap. Essentially, everything is on the table, including statewide transportation improvement funds that are currently allocated to transit. So I just want to make sure the board is aware. There is a lot of unknowns, and we just honestly need to wait until the end of the short session to know what will happen with that. If the legislators do decide to reallocate some transit funding, those changes will likely not impact us until July 1st of 2027. Any questions on that?
Well, thank you for the update.
All right. So the next item is the compliance review. The intent is to update the board on the recent ODOT compliance review. No action is required of the board at this time. As you saw today on the action item section of this meeting, we have resolved several of the advisory recommendations. We received one advisory observation, which was due to not monitoring length of the paratransit trips. I just want to make sure that there's no severely long trips that are happening. We have since contacted Spare and now can easily monitor this. So that's great. One of the awesome benefits of having a program that is very robust and has the ability to monitor a lot of different things. So the next step is I will send all these new policies and those resolutions we have done to ODOT and RLS, and then that will wrap up the compliance review. So overall, it was a very good review for us, and we'll continue working and improving and doing our best.
How frequently do these reviews happen? Once a
Every
year?
3 years.
Every 3 years.
Any questions on that? Any other questions?
Did they give you high compliments and praise?
They did.
Okay.
They said we did very good.
I see Tim. looking
Yeah,
over
Tia,
this-
Tia mentioned how they did say, "Oh, it's Cat. They're all good," and that was pretty surprising. So yeah.
Good to hear. Thank you for running a good show.
And then, so the next is upcoming procurements. The intent is just to let the board know of the upcoming procurement process that the staff will be completing. There's no action required of the board at this time. As we have discussed, once things get to the contract level, we will bring it to you for approval before we sign the contracts. The ones that are coming up is the CAT facility site development program. So we are finally at the stage where we are going to reach out for consultants to help us with the development or the construction of the new park and ride that will be going on the lot that we purchased last year. Also help with the redevelopment of our current park and ride into a bus barn and maintenance facility. And we'll be helping with the first the design and engineering of the interregional transit facility over at Lot 1. So the intent is that these consultants will be helping us with multi-year projects. So it's going to be a very big RFP. So that will be coming up here in the next couple months.
Is the intent that, the park and ride moves there, not parking for this lower lot to be used as a lower lot for bus facilities or other stuff, or they're going to look at all three, the lower lot here and there, try to come up with the best configuration?
Yeah, I mean, the original intent is that will be bus bar and maintenance facility, but I think to your point, they have the ability to look at it and be like, hey, we know that this is what you were thinking, but you could do X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
And that's kind of the brilliance of being able to send out an RFP for this type of thing, because then we can get the knowledge and resources from people who do this all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, then there's also the Multnomah Falls Ambassador Program, which we will be doing this year as well. It does look like the program will be reduced to a degree just because of the funding available. In prior years, we typically look at $75,000 in order to complete the program at ideal levels. It does look like the funding that's going to be available from U.S. Forest Service and other partners is at that $46,000-ish level. And so we're trying to figure out.
But then
what
we
we
just
can do.
contract that out with somebody else.
We contracted it out, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
And there's no cap dollars that go to that. Then the other ones, we have to go out for accounting services again, as well as IT services.
Just as required, even.
Yes.
And they're both still interested in pursuing with us.
I really hope so.
That's good.
I haven't heard any bad things or negative things.
Okay.
So, and that, any questions on that?
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. All right, we're now on to discussion items. Does anybody on the board have any discussion items they'd like to bring up?
I just have a really quick one. The House Bill 4007 that I was working on to, I think it's called the e-mobility or e-micromobility bill, passed on Monday, so now it's headed to Ways and Means, but essentially it clarifies definitions of all the mobility devices, scooters, one wheels. There's so many now, we can't even keep track. And lowers the legal riding age for e-bikes to 14, and then clarifies what an e-moto is, in that any e-bike class 1, 2, or 3 that has been hacked into the computer to increase the speed is illegal. So it's gonna help a little bit with the culture that we're feeling some friction on in Hood River.
Okay. Appreciate that. Glad it passed. Okay, other discussion items? Okay, not hearing any. Do we have any upcoming events? Nothing on the radar?
One, I
Okay.
forgot, In the Dirt is a documentary that is playing at Y East Middle School on March 7th, I believe. No, it's March 4th. And In the Dirt is a documentary about a indigenous community that found the love and the joy of biking. And anyway, it's like a joint event with Gorge News, Hood River Rotary, Anson's Bike Buddies, I think HRATs, and so it'll be a really cool documentary to come watch.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that date. Any others? Okay. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Matt, for the first,
All
Jim
right,
for the
I move to
second.
adjourn. There we go.
I jumped the gun.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, team. Appreciate
Thank you
everybody's work
all.
here on the
Thank you,
board.
everyone.
Good to see ya.
Thank you, staff.